Can I invite all participants to sit down? We will be starting the webcast of the conclusions from the workshop on implementing strategies for engineering education in India towards 2025. So we have gathered today 40 eminent experts from engineering institutions in India, from industry in India, from regulatory bodies of engineering education, and indeed also from countries like France, Malaysia, Denmark, Singapore, and United States. The organizers of this event is the IUCEE, the CII, and the World Bank. We have decided collectively as participants of this workshop to convene this as an annual event closely connected to the International Conference on Transformations in Engineering Education in India, which just took place here in Bangalore and will take place in Pune in January 2016. So I have the pleasure of inviting two of the participants to deliberate, and we would like to hear from what they learned from the discussions in the four themes that were central to the discussion today. So first theme was about strengthening governance, leadership, and management at engineering institutions. The second one on improving the quality of teaching, learning, and research. The third one on fostering stronger institute-industry collaboration. And finally, the fourth theme was on innovation and entrepreneurship in engineering education. So I would like to invite Dr. Ashok Shettar, Director of the College of Engineering BVB in Hubli first, and then Dr. Venkatesh Valluri, President of Ingersoll Rand, from an industry perspective secondly. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to share with you the learning I had in today's deliberations. I represent the academic institutions. We all engineering institutions in India know that in a rapidly changing technological world, Indian engineering education system need to significantly transform itself. We know that the economy as well as social development of any nation is closely associated with the quality of engineering graduates. Their innovativeness, their productivity makes a big difference to a nation's economy. That's why today we are here to discuss how engineering education institutions in India should transform themselves in next one decade. Before I touch upon the deliberations of the conclave, I would like to share with you how a typical engineering institution in India today looks like. Because we need to understand what is today to really understand how we'll go and achieve what we want to achieve. Most of the engineering institutions in India are affiliated following the curriculum of the universities. Very few number of colleges have liberty to set their own curriculum. They are called as autonomous colleges. but their numbers are very few. And focus of most of the engineering colleges or institution is on undergraduate education. Very little focus is there on research as well as postgraduate education. And there is also lack of framework, educational framework for the curriculum design in our universities. What is happening is we keep on reviewing the existing syllabus. We forget the goal or the objectives we want to reach through this education. I can say that at present we lack any educational framework in our engineering education system. It is very important that any education has to be informed or must have constant feedback from the constituencies which it is serving. For engineering, industries are very important because ultimately our graduates serve the industry to create that value. But unfortunately, our engineering education system has a very little interaction or very little engagement with the industry, I can say. Today, a very good accreditation system has come in. India has become signatory to the Washington Accord, and also our accreditation system has adopted outcome-based education framework. But at present, I can only say that we consider accreditation as more of a format-filling process rather than a process which is required for improving our performance and delivering better value to our students. So we need to move away from this compliance mode to a more commitment mode, I can say. And most of our institutions are growing in isolation or operating in isolation. They say that every institution need to grow out of just teaching and research. They also become relevant to the region. So far we have failed to establish regional relevance wherever we exist. And the economy in the coming decade will depend a lot on the way how we grow our entrepreneurs, how we grow our innovation system. But there is no formal initiatives or strong initiatives from these institutions to take forward the entrepreneurship or innovation ecosystem to grow the economies of the region, economies of the state or the nation itself. With this snapshot, where really we want to be as an Indian engineering education institution, I would like to share with you. We look forward to a day where all our institutions are autonomous, responsible, accountable, delivering better value, doing a lot of innovation in teaching learning process, curriculum design process. We look forward to a day where we'll have the space for it, independence for it. And at the same time, we also look forward to a day where we are not just called as a teaching institution, we should be called as, by 2015, in next one decade, all of us should transform ourselves to become research intensive or research led or research informed universities or the institutions. This is a very important factor that can really help the institutions in India to grow. As already I have told, we lack the academic framework. In next 10 years, every Indian institution must be able to adopt outcome-based education framework. And at the same time, we need to bring out our educational experience outside the classrooms also. Largely, our education system is dependent on classroom teaching. We need to create better learning experience by introducing more practice-based curriculum, more practice-based pedagogical methods. We also need to develop a strong link with the industry so that we continually improve our curriculum and prepare our graduates for the emerging technological workplace. And at the same time, all these innovations need to happen, all these advances should happen with the proper training of our faculty, continually with the association of industry, and also the domain experts. We should ensure that each of us continually ensure that our faculty are better prepared. We should also understand that the world is effectively using ICT technology for the delivery of education. We look forward to these technologies, these tools, to add to our efforts so that in terms of faculty preparedness, in terms of delivering of the education, ICT will be playing a major role in the next 1 decade. Along with undergraduate education, we should also strengthen the research as well as postgraduate education. Because in the coming world, the specializations are going to make big difference to the industry. So we need to develop strong postgraduate education as well as research capability. And all these autonomous institutions, which have become research-led, research-informed institutions, will be led by capable academic leaders. And also these institutions will look for revenue generation beyond student fees. We are highly dependent on student fees only. Indian engineering institutions don't generate any other revenue through consultancy or research. We need to look forward to a future where we create opportunities to bring revenues from other sources so that we can develop better infrastructure, better facilities for our students. We, as engineering institutions, must play a generative role in regional economies. We must emerge as a force to develop better socio-economical conditions wherever we exist. We need to develop those networks, those connectiveness, and also those capabilities that are required to emerge as regional force. And beyond teaching and research, we need to develop centers of excellence in each of these institutions so that these centers will contribute not only to the growth of the economy, but also to the growth of the society and social conditions. These are our aspirations. Based upon these aspirations and today's context, the experts here deliberated. Based upon their deliberation, what is that I learned and what is that I'm taking home, I would like to share with you. The whole deliberation agreed that autonomy of an institution or institutional autonomy is a very important step in going forward. Because each of these engineering institutions, to experiment, to innovate, to grow, they need space. They need autonomy. The autonomy can be academic autonomy, financial autonomy, administrative autonomy. These autonomy will help the institution to raise their aspirations. We not only say that we need autonomy, we should also say that we will be more accountable when we get the autonomy. So there must be review of the process of granting of autonomy. There must be relook at the present rules so that we'll be able to reach that critical number. Today the discussions indicated that for India to really grow in terms of engineering education, we must reach at least 200 autonomous institutions per year. We must be able to come up with 200 autonomous institutions every year. That must become probably the national agenda. Otherwise, it won't happen. I would like to see one day our beloved Prime Minister Narendra Modi saying that the progress of education, engineering education in India will be measured through the number of institutions that are going to attain autonomy, because we are going to ensure that only the quality, qualified institutions are moving forward to autonomous status. So there is a serious need to look at our process and hasten that process. And also, while we take these institutions towards the status of autonomy, we need to ensure that they have proper academic framework in place. And all of us know that already National Board of Accreditation has accepted outcome-based education framework as the framework for engineering education. Slowly it has started percolating through our engineering education system, but still a lot need to be done. The colleges and the institution need to really understand the essence of outcome-based education, use it as a tool to collect the perception of the stakeholders, the perception of the industry, the perception of the society, and move forward to come up with a very innovative curriculum, a relevant curriculum, and different scientific pedagogical methods to create a better learning experience for our students. A lot of transformation need to be there, need to happen in terms of curriculum design, in terms of pedagogy, the way in which we deliver education, in terms of assessment. All this can happen through a proper adaptation of outcome-based education framework. And while we are adopting this framework, industry must be an active partner in giving us a relevant feedback continuously. It is not just the framework that works. The third point the conclave debated on was the faculty development. Huge number of engineering colleges, almost close to 4,000 engineering colleges. Lakhs of faculty are needed. Lakhs of qualified, capable faculty are needed. And these faculty need to be developed very systematically and very scientifically. Not only in domain expertise, but also in pedagogical practices. Somehow in Indian engineering education system, the pedagogy training, the way I deliver education, the way I understand the student's need, the way I evaluate the student learning, that we have not covered. I mean, we really don't train our teachers in that direction. We need to ensure that pedagogy becomes a compulsory training in engineering education. Certification also happens for all the teachers. So along with the industry and the other experts, we should undertake domain training as well as the pedagogy training. One more point the conclave deliberated on and felt that that is very important is, in the coming years, if all these things have to happen, that is, these colleges emerge as autonomous colleges, make big difference in educational space, and at the same time we adopt a new framework in a real essence. If all these things have to happen, academic leadership is most important. Leadership in huge numbers, because we need almost 4,000 principals, and at the same time head of the programs across the colleges, head of the new initiatives. So unless we create the leaders in engineering education space, we'll never be able to take forward the transformation or reforms that we are planning. the national agencies, whether it is AICTE or UGC, universities, the colleges, and the managements must ensure that there is a solid process in place to develop the academic leaders. With all this, still there will be a question in the minds of the stakeholders, whether it is the employer or the students, incoming students. I mean, how good a college is performing, how employers or how society perceives a college as. I mean, this is a kind of doubt that is always there in the minds of a society or in the minds of the students who are coming into our institutions. We need to develop a very credible rating agency or rating methodology or a rating procedure we need to develop. And there will be pros and cons of this process in the beginning. Many times these ratings will be questioned, but if we start, we'll definitely move towards the kind of maturity that is required. We need to come together, the industry, academia, and governmental agencies need to come together, develop a platform where a reliable transfer rating for these institutions is given so that the doubts in the minds of the stakeholders are cleared. And not only the rating, there need to be a solid benchmarking process, because every institution need to know how it is doing compared to some other institution, where its gaps are, how it can improve. The benchmarking can help the institutions in continuous improvement process. So these are the few points or things which we are taking home or sharing with you. We believe that from the institutional perspective, if we are able to attend to each of them with all commitment, in the next 10 years, we'll be able to transform Indian engineering education system. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I believe there are hundreds of people across the country listening to this webcast, so welcome to you all. My name is Venkatesh Valluri, and I have the honor to give a few thoughts on how the industry really looks at this entire deliberation which has taken place since morning, along with a number of colleagues and very eminent people who are sitting in this room currently. Generally, if you ask anybody in the industry today, what do they feel about the Indian economy, I would make a fair guess that they would say they feel very good. They feel very good because it appears, and I hope, that the growth rates that are being projected either by the Reserve Bank of India or the ministry really kind of gives us an indicator that the future or the next few years, which this country is going to witness the type of growth, has been long awaited. Also, the indicators that give us this confidence in the industry is because if we look at the global economy, barring the United States, we do believe that the rest of the regions in the world are actually experiencing growth rates which are either subnormal, flat, or even negative. With the recent oil crisis, with problems in Russia, with the currency fluctuation in Brazil, with China's overcapacity and slowing growth rates, Europe kind of having or facing difficulties, it fundamentally drives the point that India is an extremely good place for us to drive the growth in the economy. But however, driving growth means a number of things. When you talk about driving growth, it means for a population of over 1 billion people, it essentially implies that we are improving the standards of living. We are improving the standards of fundamental, goods and services which people can use and utilize, which means the industry needs to produce more, industry needs to develop more productive solutions for the larger market and for the larger population. Now, in the recent past, we've heard the Prime Minister and the Ministry stating about a few initiatives which include Make in India, which include Swachh Bharat, which include Skill in India. And I think these are large, scalable opportunities which industry feels it can actually act very strongly. And to act strongly on this, there's a fundamental need of human capital. A human capital that is capable of not only working, delivering, innovating, being strong entrepreneurs, and actually creating that kind of an ecosystem in the country which can help create economic value and wealth. Now, as we deliberated this, from the industry standpoint, we came up with 5 key areas which we think are extremely crucial for this country in the future to actually lead this growth path, provided there's a very strong interaction between academia and industry. And I'm going to actually lay these 5 areas out to all of you who are listening to this webcast very succinctly with brief comments, which the teams over here have actually worked very diligently on. The first one is talent. And you heard Dr. Shetter actually talk about the university system and improving the talent. I think industry needs talent. Industry needs very, very strong talent in a number of areas to develop this economy, to grow this economy, and industry is prepared to kind of support that because that obviously will deliver growth for the industry and for people. So when we talk about talent, the kind of talent that comes out from engineering institutions or universities must be dovetailed in a manner that for the markets what we create, there is talent available that can quickly deliver work and build upon and create truly new values in terms of building economic wealth. So clearly, the engagement of building talent between industry and university is going to be one critical option over here to drive this whole engagement. And when we talk about talent, should this be through interventions like internships, compulsory internships? Should this be through actually building talent through faculty rotations, where faculty comes into the industry, learns new technologies, goes back to the universities, or vice versa, where people in the industry come and teach in universities and in engineering institutions? I think it's a complete symbiosis that a whole ecosystem needs to get created in developing and upgrading talent. The second one is really research engagement. And when we talk about research engagement, we do believe there are areas where the industry is prepared to play. And the industry is prepared to play very quickly in many, many areas. And for those of you who are actually from the academic institutes or backgrounds, we all must realize that a nation's wealth improves, the standard of living improves, when the society actually gets the basic needs and in terms of quality. And when I talk about quality, we could talk about some basic needs like water, pollution, environment, sanitation, healthcare, transportation. And I think these are fundamental needs where a society needs, and there are huge markets if you're able to create value products which are affordable, which are high quality products. And I think we've mastered the art of information technology in this country. I think we can master the art of building products and solutions for these areas which will actually uplift the society. And these areas could essentially deliver a number of other technologies like material sciences, nanotechnologies, the new emerging biophysical kind of materials. And I think there are multiple technologies that can actually be delivered by actively collaborating between industry and academia. And therefore, the research engagement has got to be application-driven, application-based, which essentially drives, builds products and solutions for just not for an engagement between academic and industry, but really kind of transforming the society in the future, which actually looks at creating a very, very healthy and an economically viable society. The third one is really we talked about was the university consortium and industry consortium. One of the things we realized that the funding which sometimes the government of India doles out to a number of universities tends to be spread very thin. And you're not able to actually build products or solutions or research basic research, which essentially does not deliver the intended benefits. So one of the thoughts is, can we create university consortia, or can we create industry consortia where there are solutions created for the end markets? It could be solutions in terms of how do we deliver water? What should be filtration technology? What should be the material science technology? How do we apply it? How do we build sensors over there? How do we collect data over there? And I think if a group of universities can actually come together, build this consortium, and similarly a group of industries can come and build this consortium, I think we have a much more quicker path of driving growth and driving solutions across the whole nation. So one of the key ideas which I think the whole team deliberated was, how do we create these consortiums in various areas which will not only kind of develop, transform, and deliver technologies and applications on the ground level. The next one was market creation, entrepreneurship, and innovation. And we all know that a healthy economy, a wealthy country, is fundamentally based by developing entrepreneurs and innovation. If we don't develop entrepreneurship and you don't develop innovation, which is in India, for India, by India, what tends to happen is we tend to import technologies from other nations and we try to kind of deploy them based on what they have done. We need unique technologies and solutions which are relevant for this country. And if we have to do it, and if we can create markets, and we have the talent which is actually tuned, developed to actually look at such markets, then what you're doing is you're actually creating an eco-space for entrepreneurship and innovation. If there is a market, there is a technology, there's a product, then it's a question of how do you commercialize that. At the end of the day, entrepreneurship means creating value, creating wealth, taking a technology and actually deploying it in the market. So for market creation, entrepreneurship, and innovation, what should be the ecosystem between the industry and between the academia to actually create value, create products, create solutions, and deliver it? And I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of how this structure, how this ecosystem has got to be evolved in terms of delivering these kinds of values. Finally, I think just about the leadership and the advisory boards, I wanted to touch a couple of thoughts over here. If you really look at the Indian industry, I think there is a lot of leadership that has actually come out in the Indian industry, which are today you find a number of Indian industry leaders running global corporations around the world. And I think we have actually mastered that art of doing what I would call as creating more value with less resources. Our approach to productivity, our approach to lean, our approach to Six Sigma, our approach to maximizing value with limited resources has been a great best practice around the world. And I think this competency actually exists in the country today. And there's no reason for all of us as a nation to actually take these best practices and transform them from industry to the academia. So I think one of the areas which we all should collectively think about is, how do we create these advisory boards? How do we create these leadership boards where industry can come and help academia in terms of really building processes, building governance, building structures which will help the academia to actually move forward? How do we create those leadership boards and advisory boards? Parallelly, at the same time, how can actually academia come and talk about the emerging technologies, the new technologies which the industry can adopt? And I think this could be a great win-win situation, both from a governance standpoint, building leadership, building new products. And truly, I think India has got this unique opportunity today. And as I think a number of us from industry realize, that in most of the Western economies, the markets are kind of getting saturated. You have to continuously keep looking at what new products and what new solutions need to be evolved, developed, and driven. But as far as we are concerned, we've got many virgin markets. And these virgin markets, if you're able to create products and values at the right price points, we would be able to take the leadership not only in delivering products in India, but also delivering products across the world. So I think this symbiosis between university systems, our engineering institutions, and our industry can be truly a win-win proposition, just not for our country, but for the rest of the world. So that's really what the deliberation took place today. And I think we're all confident from the industry, from the academia. I think this is a great platform where we have come together, and we do seriously and confidently believe that this can be a turning point for India in terms of driving a number of product solutions by India in India. Thank you.
Let me now invite comments, suggestions from the participants. Please be brief, no more than 1 minute. We still have 5-10 minutes. Yes, please, can you hand a mic? And please wait on until the camera has zoomed in on you, please.
I'd like to congratulate both the speakers for summarizing what we discussed the whole day. I have a reflection, perhaps you could comment. If you ask the question, what is the difference between 20th century India and 21st century India, we all would agree Indian economy is much more strongly integrated with the global economy. Now, how can we provide global orientation to the engineering education and engineering institutions? Would you still consider that as an important aspect? And how would you internalize it in your reports?
Yes, we will take 1 or 2 questions more, and then yeah. So please.
I just wanted to supplement an information regarding academic leadership program. The All India Council for Technical Education and the UKT have jointly conducting an academic leadership program for about 250 academicians in this country, which spans about an year, in which the actual classroom learning is held in 3 slots over a period of 10 to 12 days, which includes a visit to UK also, which is being done by the Dudley College. But the number is only 250, which may have to be pegged up to a large number of maybe 5,000, which is the necessity of training people in the academic leadership. Thank you.
So the young students and Indians today are very aspirational. I think few success stories exist, and since there are 3,900 odd colleges, I think scalability is one of the very important things. And the best practices of some of the institutes have to be immediately replicated elsewhere, and we have to work out model for that.
Krishna Vidula. I'd like to re-emphasize what Kurt Larson mentioned earlier, that this is a very dynamic, high-powered group of industry, academia, and representatives from government as well as society. We will be continuing these deliberations. It's not just one meeting and go home and forget about it. We will be continuing these deliberations very actively throughout the rest of the year and monitor the goals. There's one parameter that Ashok Shettar put in front of us, 200 institutions becoming autonomous each year. We will take that seriously as a group, work towards it, and every month we will have virtual meetings of this group to see what interventions are needed in order to make this happen. And look forward to meeting you again next year, telling you that we have accomplished this goal and these are the ways we did it, and even set ourselves more ambitious goals.
Currently, the engineering education in the country focuses on teaching. And there is a phase shift which has happened, the participation of the industry which is coming in, and also the undergrad program research. So this panel today, the conclave, have dwelled upon how we can harness this potential, how we can scale it up. So these strategic points, goals, I think it will definitely help us and grow big and become a real, true autonomous institution towards to the aspirations of the engineering students in the country in the years to come.
So I would just like to say that the details strategies and action points will be made available on the websites of AICTE, CII, and the World Bank within the next few days, as well as a recorded webcast, as you just have seen it. So the only thing I would like to say is a warm and heartfelt thank you to everybody. It has been a very interesting day, a lot of discussions, many excellent ideas. Now we need to work, all of us, from our different positions to work on the strategies, work on the action points. So thank you very much to everybody for sharing your ideas and for spending time here. Thank you very much.